All right, so today I find myself chasing the clock as tomorrow morning I have to head out to Detroit. I'm gonna be gone for 2 weeks on 2 different productions. The first one's in Detroit, then we land in Miami and then head to Key West. Now, if you get anxiety for traveling, you're not alone, especially when it comes to bringing a ton of camera gear, because more often than not, you have to invest in hard cases, just like this tall tripod one. That thing costs $500, and I only use it throughout the year when I need to bring sticks on any sort of traveling that I do. However, it doesn't make sense to rent, and it just sits here unless I travel. There's a couple other uses, like with stands and lighting gear, that I use it for when I don't need sticks, but more or less, traveling with camera gear kind of sucks. And being that I get hired a lot for gimbal operator out of state, at different events, summits, shoots that we do, productions, I don't leave home without my Tilta advanced ring grip. This thing, as a gimbal operator, saves my back. I get better movement compared to the pistol style grip. I love the functionality with the 2 side grips, where you can have focus motors or your zoom motor set up. There's just a lot of benefits to using the ring grip. So I want to show you guys this guy right here. So about 2 years ago, I was looking for a solution to travel with my advanced ring grip that could also fit my gimbal. Now, I didn't want to buy another Pelican case. That's just another hard case that I gotta check in, make sure I have when I land. And like I said, if you guys travel for this type of production work, you know how stressful it could be. Like, did my camera package make it if I didn't carry it onto the plane? Did my lights make it? Like, it's always super stressful, especially when you go to places where there's 0 rental houses, like I was recently in Wisconsin. So I hit the internet and I found this solution that Tilta actually makes. And if you know anything about Tilta products, they could be a little bit on the pricier side, but this soft shell case that's very robust, and it's got plastic inside for the frame, but it's not a complete hard shell, comes in. This guy only costs $69, so I wanted to grab it and I've been using it ever since. So let me show you how I break down the gimbal, how it packs into this real nice, and then we'll talk a little bit more. And then I'll give you some other tips that I use this case with when I'm traveling to put even more gear inside it. So let's break down the gimbal. Now, when you open up the case, you're gonna have 2 different sides. So you're gonna see we have some storage right here. We have a section for our gimbal. We have a mounting point for our top handle portion. And then if I unsnap the bottom, we have the bottom half, our handles, and everything. So let me break this down for you guys and just talk a little bit about it while I'm doing it. So for the first thing, I usually run the extended battery, but for this trip, I don't need that long of a battery, so I'm gonna go with the small one just to keep my setup nice and light. So I'm just gonna stick it right inside. The next thing I'm gonna do is remove my super clamps. If you know anything about the Tilta advanced ring, they like to catch fire, and it's gonna be because of a couple reasons that I'm gonna talk about throughout this video and show you how to keep the contacts clean and so on, so you don't get sparky on us. So instead of running power through the gimbal ring, because that's how these gimbals tend to fail, I just use a small rig, V-mount clamp, and then I run the proper D-tap cable to my monitor that lives on this side off of my V-mount. And I even store my V-mounts in here when I'm traveling because I carry this on. We'll get to that a little bit more as I start breaking this down. So I'm gonna just take my super clamps. This one just has a monitor mount, so I can hold the gimbal, monitor on the left, check the battery on the right. It's really not that heavy, and these clamps are super cheap compared to the V-mount adapter that goes on the bottom that, like I said, powers the whole ring grip. You don't need the top battery. It's not the biggest deal when I run mine, so I'll list basically everything in the description below. Now, the next thing I want to do is take off this little module, and this is what allows the gimbal to talk to the ring grip, and I'm just going to store it in this little sleeve right here, and we'll set that up. I'm also going to take my D-tap cable, put it right inside here, and then we'll zip it up. Next thing I want to do is take apart the gimbal. So we're going to remove the gimbal and then we're going to slide out the plate. I really wish this plate didn't have to slide out. By now I could balance a gimbal super fast. I've done it so many times, but it would still be pretty cool if this mount or mounting plate could stay on this when traveling. Now what you do is you're going to take the gimbal, you're going to feed it here. I'll show you guys in a second how it's going to look. And then you're going to take your Velcro straps after it's tucked in nicely, and boom, the gimbal lives right here. Next, what I want to do is start dismantling the top portion. There's arrows on the ring grip if you haven't seen one before, and it tells you which direction to spin it. Now let's talk about contacts, because power runs through this ring grip. And if you look at the top handle, the side handles, and even the bottom part of the frame, we have some metal contacts. And what happens is as electricity flows, and sometimes these twist locks get loose, you start to spark through the handle. So what you would essentially want to do, let me go grab a microfiber real quick. So what you want to essentially do is take a microfiber and just wipe down these contacts, and a lot of the residue wears off, and that keeps these silver contacts nice and clean so we don't start a fire. And this is something I do regularly, maybe every other month or something like that. Anytime I take apart this ring grip, I'm always cleaning these contacts. Like I said, they're on the top and bottom, and same with the entire top portion and the bottom portion of our ring grip. So just wanted to mention that for you guys. I've literally had conversations with people saying that their ring grip has caught fire, has started smoking on set, multiple ones, not just one, multiple ones. So keep your contacts clean. That's all I'm doing. There's a little pin on some of them, just push down, it's spring loaded, and then yeah, just wipe them down and we'll be all nice and clean. Next, what I'm gonna do is fold in the legs, and I believe this is the right size. Perfect. So this guy also goes in this top portion, and it slides in, and then it Velcros on. And I'll show you guys just in a second. Let me move this out of the way. And now we have our top part, or the bottom legs of the gimbal, stored. Next thing I like to do is take these two side handles, and we're gonna feed them in right here. Now, there's one thing to note, I want you guys to know about this, is the joystick. The joystick on the gimbal, on the side handles, is fragile. Sometimes they break. People's gimbals will start drifting because this button, even though it doesn't look like it's stuck, is stuck internally. So be careful. I like to store this not with the joystick up. I like to put it to the side so the top's protected and we keep stuff away from it and hitting it essentially. So yeah, we got our two side handles, joystick down here, the RS4 Pro, and our bottom portion. Now, we're gonna go to the next stage of this. And this is fairly quick video. The bottom plate, stuck it in there, and then you have an additional one. So if you wanna bring a spare battery, some sort of other accessory, you could stick it in like so. Now, what I do is I'll take my clamps and I'll clamp them gently, or I'll just let them sit inside like so. I do it both ways. There is no right or wrong. It's not smacking around because luckily we have this nice button. Now there's a lot of extra space in this case, so I've tried to utilize it, being that I always carry this onto my flight along with a backpack that has all my camera bodies, glass, and batteries like the 98 V mounts and the Sony Z100 batteries. Whatever battery I'm bringing, you have to carry them on to the plane. You can't check them in underneath. They might fail, start smoking, blow up. We don't want to crash. So we carry these on. What I usually do is I'll take a V mount and I'll stick it in like right here and right here, And when I close it, there's enough pressure where it's not smacking around. I've never had anything scratched, broken of that sort. I'll also stick my iPad in here. There's literally so much space with these nooks and crannies that you could put stuff around, and it's not like you're banging this thing as you're like walking onto the plane or anything like that. And if you do, well, take better care of your shit. But for me, I try to optimize as much, being that I don't have like a hard case that I am checking or carrying onto the plane per se. Usually I check in everything else. So I try to optimize this as much as I can. You close it up, you zipper it up, and you're almost ready to go. But there's just a couple other things I want to show you. So we have a Velcro handle, we have an adjustable Tilta strap, it's padded. We have a sleeve, so for your suitcase or something, you could slide it through the handle. It's easy to transport. And then we have a little pouch right here. It's already open. And this is usually where, it's gonna sound funny, but like when I'm in the airport and stuff and I get my receipts, the whole time I'm at the airport, any receipts for expenses, I stick in here throughout the whole trip. Any of my expenses, because I know exactly where those receipts are going. They're not getting put in different places and so on. So this case has been holding up for 2.5 years. I've been pretty good with it. It does get beat up a little bit. It's showing a teeny tiny bit of wear, but this thing I love. Throw the strap on, and I'm wearing a backpack, carrying this on the plane. You could adjust the height, you could hold it. I mean, there you go. Really nice and rigid. This whole case, like this frame is plastic. You could feel it. It won't bend, but this portion is a little bit soft, this portion. So I just wanted to show you guys that real quick. Link will be in the description below. I'm trying to batch content. If you're watching this, I'm already filming out in Detroit or Key West. And I just want to give you guys a little bit of a tip because I was packing, and although I have some videos in the queue, I definitely want to showcase this, and why not? Had to break it down regardless. So this thing's super dope. I think you guys who own the ring grip are really gonna like it. Put a lot of homies onto it. And yeah, let me know if you have a different solution to traveling with not only your gimbal, but the ring grip. Let me know what you're using. Till next time, I'm Jason Anthony. I'll catch y'all when I get back from my trip. Peace out.